I grew up in a little town near Rochester called Wanamingo, Minnesota, and a community of about 600 people at that time. And we had two churches, a Norwegian Lutheran church and a Swedish Lutheran church. So that was the breadth of our ecumenism. And we attended the ALC church. And as a child, I took trombone in high school, piano, and I had another teacher who taught me violin and organ. And like most people of the 60s, I picked up guitar on my own. So I was sort of immersed in music. We had a lot of music in our house. In the days before record players, the only way you had music is to make it. So we got used to that. So I played the organ in my own church from about 10th grade to 12th grade. I started out as a music major at Luther College, ended up in psychology. But when I spent a year in England where I met my wife. And we came back and I took a job at a Catholic church as a musician, partly because I couldn't find any other job. And this was right after the Second Vatican Council, so they had just switched to English. And I started writing at that point for my own community. One of my heroes, of course, is J.S. Bach, who was a great, great composer, but when he wrote, he knew how to write for the task. I grew up with the Red Hymnal, which was service book and hymnal. Interestingly enough, that was a book that tried to be very ecumenical. It had many hymns from different traditions. But what impressed me was the way the Lutheran tradition very deeply considered the word as central, and hymns had to carry a theological weight as well, oftentimes based indirectly off scripture. But I remember the music was seen, in my understanding, more as a frame around the word. That's something that the Reformation gave to the larger church, was especially the Lutheran tradition said the word is proclaimed through music. The beautiful harmonizations in the service book and hymnal, I grew up loving that. A lot of what came out right after the Vatican Council in the 60s was really awful music. And I remember saying, I can write stuff this bad. So I started writing for my own congregation. So I've been influenced by a lot of folk traditions where the music came out of oral singing rather than instrumentation. So when I'm writing, I try and go away from the instrument at some point and just sing it a cappella, because if I can't sing it a cappella, the congregation won't be able to sing it. Of course, the Psalms, Christians, probably initially, especially the Jewish converts, probably brought the cantillation from the Psalms into their own tradition. So early, we don't know what they say, of course, but the Psalms I know in the Jewish tradition were cantillated on a tone. Sometimes I like to speculate that when Jesus is quoting the Psalms in the Gospels, he's singing it. But the liturgy, when we talk about a ritual form, and the Lutherans brought with them the Catholic tradition from theirs into the Lutheran tradition. I mean, Luther saw the Mass as something that remained. And so much of that is scriptural. In fact, the angels get all the best lines. And so much of we sing scripture. And I think most people don't reflect on this, that we're singing the gospel and in the Hebrew scriptures every Sunday when we sing the liturgy. So, and oftentimes in Luther, especially the hymn of the day, that's one of the great gifts of the Lutheran church to the larger church. That the same thing with the Psalms. They're so deep and so rich that every time I come back to them, they speak to me in a different way. And one of the blessings for me has been to spend as much time working with settings of the Psalm as I have. And depending on where I am in my journey, it can sound very different. If you look at them, they carry, I mean, for instance, looking at Psalm 46, the classic Lutheran psalm for Our Mighty Fortress, but you have, on the one hand, God causing chaos and all this incredible stuff, and then it ends with "Be still and know that I am God." And so, depending on where you're at, it can speak to you in a variety of ways.
Gently you raise me and heal my weary soul. You lead me by pathways of righteousness and truth. My spirit shall sing from you.